Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahushai, Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahushai, Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. The belongs to the apostles and the elders, the great males on the true well. I want to say salutations to the hopeful elect out there, man. You Akim to Zadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. All right, on the pre-Shaman, this week's topic is going to be entitled, you need a teacher. All right, and the inspiration for the show comes from the fact that it's a post-camp lesson. All right, so we just at camp. And you can check out the video GMS NYC camp ampersand or and with the ampersand sit downs. GMS camp and sit down. GMS NYC camp and sit downs. All right, but instead of an and, it's the ampersand sign, right? But you had a Seminite brother came up, and you can watch it for yourself. You know, I'm teaching him and all that. You know, we're teaching him Slaki, but I was the speaker, right? And one thing, the hurdle he couldn't really, he was. You watch the video, man. But one thing that he couldn't really quite get the grasp of, all right, is that you're gonna have to have somebody teach you this thing. You can't jump into this Bible on your own, all right. And the Most High is gonna open up everything to you, all right. And that's a demon that plagues a lot of individuals. And as it is written, all right, no scripture is open for private interpretation. The way you're supposed to get understanding, all right, in the scriptures is through precepts. Now, when you read the book of Psalms 119, verse 104, it says, "Through thy precepts, I get understanding." All right. So how do you? What are the precepts? Scriptures. So when you speak, all right, you align this scripture with that scripture. And a lot of times when we're out there teaching, and we say, "Well, look, according to that scripture, and that scripture, all right, it was a man that taught us. Okay, that scripture says that, and vice versa." This is why we give double honors to the apostles and the elders. All right, because at one point or another, none of us was in this truth. All right, per se. At least none of us had the understanding, because if you have your house shies, you have your house shies no matter what. Okay, but in terms of the proper understanding of these scriptures, all right, somebody had taught it to us, man. All right, that's what you read about the Ethiopian eunuch that went up to Philip, and he said, "How can I understand this unless somebody teach it to me?" All right, so you're gonna have to have teachers in this truth. And we know, pursuant to the book of Isaiah, that the teachers are not going to be hid in a corner anymore. I believe it's Isaiah 30 and 20, all right? But your eyes shall see your teachers, man, all right? And how are we being seen? We're being seen out there in the highways and byways, all right? By the general audience, wherever you teach at. But a lot of brothers came into this thing via the internet, man. That's how come how Ba'ashem Yahushai sets up the internet, which the internet is mentioned in the scriptures. It's in the book of Psalms. I forget what verse, all right? But it's referred to as a unicorn because that's how these satellite information is transmitted through a feed horn, all right, or one horn, all right, a unicorn, okay. And the scripture says in the book of Daniel 12:4 that knowledge shall increase, okay. So this increasing of knowledge, all right, the scriptures, it's like this increasing of scientific knowledge and to put together all that wisdom to set up internets and all that and handheld phones. That's really being fueled by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, all right. Because as in the prologue in the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, it says all wisdom comes from the Most High. Whether it's the knowledge and wisdom of righteous stuff or even the wicked scientific devices that Esau comes with, ultimately the Most High is the one that inspired it. He deals with both sides. All right, but this internet, it has a true purpose. Now, the majority of the world, all right, which the majority of the world is going to be destroyed, as it is written, broad is the way that leads to destruction, all right? Use the internet for bullshit. TikTok, social media, Instagram, shake their ass, fat women, just complete folly. Setting great dignity, as the scripture says, right? You see a whole bunch of folly on the internet, but within that folly, within the internet, all right, if you look closely enough, all right, you're gonna find a gem, a precious piece of gold, and that's this truth. Okay, which they're making it harder and harder to get. All right, simple supply and demand. Okay. There's a little bit of supply of the truth out there, all right, but it's in high demand. People want it. People are yearning for the understanding, all right, but only the elect is going to get it because Romans 11:7 says that, all right, that only the election has obtained what they're seeking for, all right, because the rest of Israel is also all seeking for the truth, but the Most High, the 2/3 they're going to get snared looking for the truth. They're going to stumble and end up in Islam, or stumble and end up in so-called plantation Christianity, or plantation Christianity. But the elect, they might even be into those bullshit. The elect might be into that bullshit. You have brothers that teach this thing that in the world thought the Bible was a white man's book. But if you're at the Most High, you're gonna wake up. So that internet is sort of working like a double-edged sword, because there's a lot of bullshit on the internet. There's a lot of distraction on the internet. All right, there's a lot of things that can take you out of the truth on the internet. But the truth is on the internet. That's what it was made. That's what it's primarily set up for. And that's how a lot of brothers you see teaching that never even met the apostles, but they saw them through the YouTube and they studied under them brothers. But the point being is they had a teacher, someone to teach them to go into the scriptures, man. All right. In other words, you always gonna need a teacher for something, man. Some way, some form. Like even if you try to, let's say you want to master the sword, right? You want to master something in this world. You have to look it up on YouTube. You have to have an individual teach you how it's done. All right? You can't just say, you know what, I'm going to put on boxing gloves and I'm just going to box and figure it out. Hell no, man. You'll get your ass destroyed. Okay? You need somebody to teach you, because you can't just obtain those skills naturally. Even if you're just a naturally good fighter, it's completely different with boxing. Chess. Okay? Whatever avenue you want to go in, any aspect in the world, you're going to need somebody to teach you if you want to master this thing. How much more so the word of the Most High? Okay? This thing is a sword you're dealing with, man. There's people that go into these scriptures and they go into the scriptures to destroy themselves, because King David put up that prayer. He said, let that table be made a snare. This is a deadly weapon that you're dealing with, the scriptures, man. Okay? So you got to be careful with it. You need somebody to teach you, and it's not going to happen overnight, man. All right, it takes time. You know, we're constantly learning, man. That's something Elder Ibad told me, and he was in the truth for over 20 years. Well, he told me that, man, or however long, you know, decades, you know. And he said, look, man, we still learning. So you're constantly learning, man. So for you to just say, I'm gonna go home, the Spirit's gonna open this to me and that to me, and look, man, that's some fairy tale bullshit, man. It don't work that way, all right? Apostle Paul, he had Gamaliel, all right? Yahushua didn't need no teacher because he's the only begotten son. He knew everything. Yahweh opened up everything to him, you know? But before he came on the scene, who you had out there? You had John the Baptist, man. He always had teachers amongst Israel under different congregations and all that, man. So there was always teachers and preachers and stuff like that set up to guide you through the scriptures, man. All right? Now, the thing is, you have to mark the perfect man, because you also have reprobate silver, you have false prophets, all right? You have deceivers out there, okay? That's when you got to pray to the Most High that, look, man, guide me to the right teachers, all right? Because you got a lot of people teaching bullshit. The same way the spirits of the prophets is subject to the prophets, the spirits of the deceivers is subject to the deceivers, man. And wicked-ass people that's going to teach madness, you know? So that brother watching, all right, the Spirit brought him there for a reason, okay? If he comes back, he comes back. But the point being is there was edification there, all right, because he asked a lot of questions that people are going to be asking. And we answered it not according to our will, not according to how we feel. Even though I feel I agree 100% with the Bible, I feel whatever the Lord said is the right thing, all right? But at the end of the day, I'm not answering according to my feelings. I'm answering according to the scriptures, okay? This is what the scripture says. How do I prove that? With this scripture and that verse. And I can back it up with that verse and that verse. And I was taught that, all right, by the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And guess what? They had teachers. All right? So you're always going to have the Most High put up different teachers that have teachers come together, go through the scriptures, all right? And study together to master things, and then they're going to teach students. That's what you call fruit. All right? Alright, so look, man, with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Rakakudash, a double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the whole elect out there. You Akim to Sadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom. Until next time, Akim. Shalom.